Going on, people? So, I got a topic today. Now, I want to talk about why trying to argue or convince a fool is a bad idea and a waste of time. And I'll put it this way. I've always said that there's a difference between being stupid and being ignorant. Ignorant is when you don't know. Stupid is when you know and don't care. And I'm going to weave this into some biblical scriptures because I always like to prove that the Bible has the framework and the logic of life. It's a view of God's mind. That's why it's called His Word, His law. That's what He is. God is His Word and He is His law. You can't make Him up. You can't recreate Him into your own image. That's why He said, "I am that I am." Okay, so I got a scripture here. This is Matthew 7:6. Give now that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before the swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. So I know people immediately will say, well, why did he call? Why is the metaphor of dogs and pigs used? Well, before you get emotional, you have to understand, what do dogs and pigs have in common? Well, they both eat garbage. They love trash. If you put a eloquent dinner in front of a dog and then some stinky trash, that dog will go and eat the trash because that's what it likes. That's what its nature dictates. Just like a pig. You can put filet mignon in front of a pig and some slop that's been rotting in the sun. The pig is going to go to the slop because that's what its nature dictates. And the overarching theme here is that you don't give what is holy to people who love evil. Not those people who are ignorant of it, like children who haven't been taught properly and haven't had experience to come to the knowledge of themselves, but for the people who know evil but love it. They don't care about the consequences of it. And see, that's the issue. This is a issue of this world, is about people loving the world. They say it's corrupt. They say it's unfair, but they love it. We all know how the goods of this world are acquired through the servitude and usually sweat house labor, all kinds of the way the systems of the world disenfranchise people and so that a few can have the majority of the goods and everybody else is struggling to make ends meet. Well, that's unfortunately the structure of a world that is selfish, that is vain, that is greedy, and that is focused on self. That's why the Bible said, do not love the world, because all that's in the world is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world does what? It passes away. It means it's going to go. It's going to be destroyed, just like we are going to die one day. So I just wanted to bring that up because a lot of people spend a lot of time arguing with people, with fools. Children and the youth, they need wisdom. They don't have an experience. They didn't go through trial and error. But you're talking about people who've already made a bad choice and a bad decision. They reap the benefits of the negative consequence and bad outcome. And instead of reverse engineering what happened and learning from that experience, they repeat it. There's another scripture. It says, just as a dog is to return to its own vomit, a fool is to repeat. And see, Jesus also said, the biblical Jesus, not the one that you hear in most unbiblical worldly churches or people who haven't read the Bible and completely or don't care or don't love the truth of the Bible, but just hate it because they want their evils to be celebrated. He said, you'll know a tree by its fruit, meaning that what results from something proves what it's about, the nature of it. He said, wisdom is justified of her children. You'll know the truth of something by its result. and whether the results were good, you know that it was a good choice. And the Bible does the same thing. You'll understand a lot through implementation, or through rejecting it and seeing the consequences of that arise from rejecting it or not implementing it. Simple logic, folks. You don't have to be a whole bunch of things like they tell you to do. You just have to be honest about the outcomes and results of making certain decisions. So I'm not going to make this too long. I got another scripture for you. And here it is. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rains descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat up that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And here's the thing. We all know that sand shifts. So for somebody to build a house, you have to have knowledge of a foundation. And it's the basic logical elements of life that are being ignored. And see, this is why when you arguing with a fool, you can't convince them, because their issue is with the logical design of creation, the order, intelligent design that God created. They hate God. They hate the way he designed life to function. Their issue is not with what you think. Their issue is with logic. A lazy person knows they have to work. They just don't want to. They want a better way to have a better outcome without doing it the right way. They don't care that doing things, the wrong way have long-term consequences that will, present themselves later. It's like people who want instant gratification. Nothing's free in this world. People hear that all the time. And there's nothing really easy. They're just delayed consequences that have yet to present themselves. So when you sit there trying to argue with people who have a problem with the logical design and function of life, that experience, trial and error, and simple honesty will reveal itself, that person doesn't care. So the issue is of a spiritual nature, with them hating the law of God. It has nothing to do with them being ignorant of logic. They just hate logic. And that's why it's a spiritual battle, because it ultimately comes down to them hating their identity, which is from God. So I have one final scripture, I think. Okay. For 2 Corinthians 13:8, for we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. And that is so true. Because even when you try to do something against the truth, the result just proves that the truth was right. It's like I can try to defy logic. I can try to jump off a cliff and think I can fly. But when I don't fly, and if I'm lucky, if I'm fortunate enough to survive, then guess what? I just proved that I couldn't fly, but I should have already known that. And so people hate natural law. They hate logic. They hate the ways things function logically and viably. Their issue is with God. It's not with their understanding. They just don't care about much, because they are usually consumed by vanity, lust, greed, selfishness, or narcissism, or something insatiable, which is why the Bible is the only tool that deals with the human evil element. The evils that we all have in our hearts, the Bible brings that to light by holding us all to a perfect standard of God's law, so that we will make a choice whether we want to conform to God or we will conform to a wicked world which draws out the evils in our hearts. So I just got to say that, y'all. Peace out.